Hey, what's up? Before we get in the video, make sure to leave a comment down below letting me know how you are doing today and which Flesh and Blood decks you're currently navigating. And if you're a new player, you can always say you are a new player. And what are we going to cover today? Well, we're going to get into a Blitz dash Aggro list. I have covered this one over on my Patreon I think it was yesterday when I posted an update because somebody on my YouTube videos left a comment asking me if Dash is still viable in the Blitz format in response to one of my budget Blitz decks. Well, this right here is not necessarily a budget deck. However, I do think since things like the Teklo Foundry Heart is a bit on the cheap side, for most people it should be relatively easy to cobble this deck together. You can even replace the Crown of Providence with something of like a Arcanite Skullcap or a Hope Merchant suit if you really want to go into budget. In fact, I think if you replace this with a Hope Merchant suit specifically, you pretty much have a full-on budget list on the screen right now because the Teklo Foundry Heart is not that expensive. So what do we have in the equipment? Well, we mainly have the Goliath Gauntlet. The Gambler's Gloves is not really necessary to have, but I already had plenty of Arcane Barrier, so I thought I might as well drop it in here in the very, very extremely rare off chance that we do meet a KO deck that cares about rolling dice. So for the most part, you don't really even need that card, but it's just in here for the sake of it. So the main equipment you want to run is the Crown of Providence with the gun, along with the Goliath Gauntlet, the Achilles Accelerator, and then of course you have the Teklo Foundry Heart. Why the Goliath Gauntlet? Well, we have the Goliath Gauntlet in here because we have this very lovely Mechanologist card called Payload, and this one says if you have boosted this combat chain, Payload gains Dominate. So if you use this in combination with the Goliath Glove, the Goliath Gauntlet I should say, you can get +2 power on this attack, and an 8 Dominate is just very strong in the Blitz format. Of course, you need to be careful because this says if you have boosted this combat chain, so if you're gonna use your Payload, it's very important to crack your Gauntlet before you start your combat chain, because activate a Gauntlet is an activation, and if you do it somewhere halfway in your combat chain, then your chain closes, and then your new chain will not have that bonus effect active, which can be a bit annoying. We have a bunch of T-Bones, which is especially good with all the Guardians and stuff like that out there, so you can force people to block with equipment when they don't want to. It's also good because if you play a T-Bone early and then you do go into your Payload, sometimes that means that the opponent doesn't really have equipment available to block this thing, which can be rather nice. I still run a single copy of Induction Chamber. I know this is a bit of a relic of the past, and maybe in the nowadays Blitz format it isn't even necessary to run an Induction Chamber anymore, but I do feel if you're up against an opponent that starts blocking all the stuff you try to do turn and turn again, then having an Induction Chamber in the deck can sometimes be a savior to make sure that you can get something on the field in order to have a alternate aggro plan in the late game, like activating your Induction Chamber and shooting your pistol several times in a row, which can be rather nice indeed. We have 2 copies of Rotary Ram as well. It's a very nice card. It gives +3, and you have that very nice effect that if you have boosted this turn, you can put the Rotary Ram on the bottom of your deck after you play it, which is just, it's a very nice way to keep extra cards in your deck. We have a very cool combo as well with T-Bone in combination with the Meganetic Shockwave, because Mechanetic Shockwave says the defending hero must defend Mechanetic Shockwave with X equipment they control, or X is the number of times you have boosted this combat chain. So if you get like a couple of boosts and you already force them to block the T-Bone, you can very easily force them to block with something that they don't want to block with. For example, if you're up against Ninja, which is a very popular Blitz pick at the moment, you can even force them to block with the Master of the Pouncing Lynx, which is very, very powerful indeed. And then finally we have our double copy of Teklo Pounder. Teklo Pounder is the main reason why Dash is now viable in the Blitz format. When we did not have Teklo Pounder, it was much easier for opponents to just keep on blocking every single turn and then just decking you out. But because we have that +2 effect every single turn, you're almost guaranteed to at least slip like 6 damage into there when when they want to stop blocking. So I think Teklo Pounder is a very nice inclusion in this deck. This, in combination with the Payload having Dominate, means that in most cases you should be able to get like 12, sometimes 15 damage in without really having to worry too much. And then of course we do have our payoff with the maximum velocity. I'm still not 100% sure if running maximum velocity in this deck is a good thing or not, because you do need to boost 3 times, and we do have some cuts in here that don't boost by themselves, but like the Rotary Ram as well as the Induction Chamber and stuff like that, so it can sometimes break you a little bit. But on the other hand, it's a 2 cost, it's a 10 attack, which is absolutely massive. And then again, if you combine this with the Goliath Gauntlet, it can really just win you games on the spot, which is something I'm kind of a fan of in a way. And a single copy of Teklo Core and 2 copies of Spark of Genius just to get your items on the field. Very nice to Spark of Genius on your very first turn, because you can go and fetch yourself a Teklo Pounder straight from the deck, which is very powerful. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all for this deck. A lot of very cheap boost attacks, which makes this deck very easy to go wide, and I think for anyone playing this, you should have a very good time navigating this. So with that said, I hope this deck list is useful to you. I will make sure to put the text format down in the description. I also have this deck available on my Patreon, so if you want to support the channel and if you want to support me, you can always go over to patreon.com/KuganeGaming. And I guess I will all see you very soon with the next video. And don't forget to comment down below. Let me know how you're doing. Take care.